Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. I'm your host, Frank Fiume, here live at the IFA2024 National Convention, and looking forward to interviewing some folks at this year's event. I am here with Ford Saeks. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great too. So Ford, what brings you to the IFA this year?
Well, I love helping franchisees maximize local marketing and boost sales, and I'm one of the only keynote speakers that's in the Hall of Fame at IFA. So I'm here because I love helping with franchise brands and also supplier members like you guys. So I'm here for exposure and to add value.
That's awesome. All right, well, the folks who I mostly talk to in my podcast are founders of emerging franchise brands.
Got it.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about when you work with these guys and gals, what are some of the biggest challenges they face?
So for emerging franchise brand, how many units would you say?
I'd say greater than 5, under 25.
Okay,
and
so like that 25 is that sweet spot, right? Because you've got, once they make 25, then it's 50 and 100. So those emerging brands are really struggling to duplicate their systems and to find new franchisees. And in the beginning, those emerging brands don't really vet their franchisees as much as they should. So one of the challenges they have is they want anybody who has a paycheck and can pay for the franchise brand, but then they end up getting franchisees that aren't successful, and it hurts their growth. So emerging franchise brands can really value from being at, listening to your podcast, because you bring experts in that help them solve their biggest challenges, which are leadership, staffing, supply chain, managing their local marketing. And most important for emerging brands is building systems that are duplicatable so their franchise brands work. Like, for example, I'll be speaking for Anytime Fitness. And 15 years ago when that brand first emerged, they were sending their franchisees paint cans and saying, paint your room purple. Well, if you look at how big they are now, it's changed. So I know it's a long road to a tiny house, but that's why I'm here.
No, it's true. That's true. Tell me, why do you think 84% of all franchisors never get to 100 units?
I think it's really marketing. We've all seen good products that go out of business, and then you've seen products that are around that, why are they still here? So I think it really is connecting the right message to the right market, using the right method. So they really have to look at not just how do they expand awareness for their products or services, but how do they really establish their brand in the local market.
That's awesome. I got one last question for
Sure.
you. All right, if I was an aspiring entrepreneur, or I should say I'm an aspiring franchisor, and I haven't franchised my concept yet, what would be one tip you'd give me?
Go to ProfitRichResults.com and check out what I do, or continue to listen to your podcast. But in all seriousness, be open-minded. They have to be open-minded. Success leaves clues. There's a lot of franchise systems that you can model, and you can also realize what you don't want to do. So it's really about being open-minded and taking action. And remember, it's not what you know, it's how well you actually execute.
Ford, thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.